Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day today. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. I want to thank all my channel members for supporting the channel. Without you guys, it wouldn't be easy for me to do this. I appreciate you all more than you know. Today we've got a special kind of review, overview, unboxing, Blade Show score from a good friend of mine, local buddy who was over at Blade Show with me, A to Z EDC. You can check him out at Instagram at A to Z EDC. He's a good follow, has a great collection, super good guy. But he picked something up over at Blade Show that I found very, very interesting. And we hear a lot about this knife, good, bad, and indifferent. But that's what the knife costs if you buy it at the table. So this is a Microtech. Here's the Microtech swag. And then here is the knife, costing sharp edge. This is the Microtech Blade Show version 2023 of the MSI in an orange with the new Ram-Lok. First thing that I noticed about the knife when I picked it up is it is a full-size knife. It's definitely got some heft to it. I was also surprised at how little lock stick this particular version has. And yes, it doesn't have the snappiest detent, but I'm able to deploy it with that middle finger flick with no problem. I can thumb flick it. You can hold the Ram-Lok and flick it. But when you get it open, you'll see that it is every bit a full-size knife. Got a nice choke up area here on this Wharncliffe sheep's footy blade. That blade is in that kind of special Microfoam or Microtech M390. It's M390 MK, I think is what they call it. They tweaked the formula just a little bit. I don't do edge tests, things like that, so I can't speak to how well they did. People like Jared Neves and others that understand steel might be more apt to talk about that, or more able to talk about that, should I say. Whoops. Sorry, guys. I was just grabbing a little promotional material here to slice through. I hit the choil the first time, but it's a very slicey knife. Not super thin behind the edge. Doesn't have to be, because it does do what I think it's intended to do, which is to be a hard use, full size kind of survival knife. It's made in the USA. It's the MSI. There is a little bit of branding on it. I was surprised that the blade did not carry more branding. Pleasantly surprised. You got the Microtech logo. You've got the M390 MK blade designation. Nothing on the clip side, but on the clip you do have this Microtech clip that says MSI. Has a serial number on it. I don't know why, but I guess for whatever reason. And it has the Microtech logo there on the clip. But on the show side, again, very, very low billboarding. You do have the clip that's reversible. So if you've got a truly ambidextrous lock system here with the Ram-Lok, and you've got a reversible clip, you just simply pop out that tab, swap out the clip, flip it, put your tab in there, and then you've got a true left-hand carry, left-hand fidgety knife. I'm not very good left-handed, but that's neither here nor there. One thing that I've noticed about this knife since I've had it, and I've only had this knife, in all fairness, guys, for a couple of days. So what I'm giving you here is kind of an overview, my thoughts about the knife, which I've been a little bit pleasantly surprised. Would I pay $350 or $400 for this knife? Absolutely not. To me, it's not that kind of knife. Would I pay $262 for this knife? If I'd had $262 when A to Z bumped into this knife that I was feeling was expendable, I would absolutely see the value of $260, $62 in this knife, because it is a made in America M390, MK, whatever that means. Has a really nice locking system here. This is pretty much different than the Axis lock. When you look at this, you've got this spring that's, I would say, more similar to what you see in the Mannix. But when you pull that back, it's basically removing that mechanism from the blade and letting it loose. So it seems like a very, very rigid locking system. And to me, I feel it's more, it feels stronger. It feels just as easy to manipulate as an Axis lock or a bar lock, but I think it does have some advantages, or we can at least say some differences. One thing that I do notice, I don't know if they'll ever make scales for this knife. I would anticipate that they would. However, you know, somebody's going to have to do that, and then people will have to start putting them on. But for some reason, this lower side here where your hand fits seems not only narrower, but it seems to create some kind of instant hot spots right here. And that's with me not using the knife hard. It's just with me holding it hard and kind of simulating grips, right? I don't know if that's going to be a problem. I don't know if that's something that anybody's going to notice besides me, but it's something I just wanted to point out. It's not something that I think's a deal breaker. It wouldn't make me keep my $262 in my pocket if I was faced with an opportunity to get this knife for that. But it is something to point out. It's pretty rounded, even though you've got the jimping that's kind of aggressive. It feels better back here than it does right here. And that's really just because the way that they treated these scales. So that's to be mentioned. But let's do a couple of quick size comparisons on this knife, kind of get an idea of how it comes in with some knives that we might be familiar with. We'll start out with the Cold Steel 4 Max, and we'll see that it is smaller than the 4 Max, but not by a lot. Look at it next to the Civivi Baby Banter. It's much bigger than the Civivi Baby Banter. Look at it next to a couple more knives, then we'll get some measurements. The Benchmade Bug Out. Much bigger than the Benchmade Bug Out. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. It's much bigger than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, guys. So yeah, it is a full-sized, large knife, and that will be confirmed when we go to measure it. So it is using our Javon Knife Flicks promotional with a sticker on it tape measure. We'll see that this knife comes in at 9 inches with a 4-inch blade and a 5-inch handle. So to that front grip, if you're just using the regular grip, you've got a 4-inch grip. If you're going to come up to that choil, you're right over 5 inches. So 4 inches from here to here, 5 inches from here to here. So let's grab Grateful Panic's calipers, and let's see what we've got in terms of blade stock. 0.164 behind the edge. Get it sharpened. 0.027, and the handle thickness 0.546. And like I said, it's a chunkier knife. Comes in at 5.25 ounces. So we will call that a full-size knife. What I would love about this knife, because again, I didn't expect to like it. I did not expect to have many positive things to say about it. However, after handling the knife, after hanging out with the knife, the only really downside that I see in it, besides the fact that it's a huge knife, but for me, I like big knives. Don't carry them all the time, but that doesn't keep them out of my collection. Um, I'm just not crazy about the scales. The orange, don't really dig that. Don't deal the composite of these scales. I think they're FRN and maybe G10. They've got a little flex to them. However, Original Goat, Brother Marty, somebody like that does a set of aluminum titanium scales for this knife, and it becomes apparent that you can easily swap them out or swap them out with a little work, which I don't see why you couldn't. This knife would be dynamite. I think this knife with a set of OG scales would be a winner. I'm not going to rush out and grab one. I don't know if they're going to be on the market for $265. I don't know if they'll be available. I doubt it because they haven't seemed to be. But I know that they'll be available at Blade Show. I know that they'll be available in Nashville in November when I go to the Custom Knife Show, the Nashville Custom Knife Show. So who knows? I may be in the market for a Microtech MSI. I did not see the stitch over at the new stitch at Blade Show, not because it wasn't there. It might have been. I just didn't see it. It was one I wanted to check out, one I wanted to try, but we'll, you know, the MSI was a great win for A to Z EDC. It's a great knife. Again, if you guys are so inclined and you get a chance, he makes a lot of knives available to me in the channel, and I'd love it if you go and follow him. I'd also love it if you guys have time to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon. It would stoke me out, really helps the channel. But please, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for one another. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Till we meet again, which will be soon. Peace.